The Hilltop Glove Podcast is sponsored by Mid-Carolina Service Company.
Mid-Carolina Service Company is the first name to search for your residential or commercial HVAC needs in Lexington and surrounding areas.
Just go holler at Jason and Clint. They'll hook you up on the air conditioners, on the restaurant equipment, refrigerators, refrigeration, ice machine repair. They've been doing this for years. I know them cats forever.
Family owned and operated since 2006, they pride themselves in their quality work and customer relationships. Call 803-356-4153 or visit midcarolinaserviceco.com for a no obligation quote for service today.
The Hilltop Glove Podcast is sponsored by True Brilliance Entertainment.
True Brilliance is a production, promotions, and management company dedicated to connecting artists and producers across the Carolinas to music industry professionals.
Several of their clients have placements both domestic and internationally as a result of their services.
Are you an artist or producer looking to build meaningful relationships within the music industry? Then True Brilliance is for you. Check them out at paramilitary.com. That's spelled P-A-I-R-A military.com.
This episode of the Hilltop Glove Podcast is sponsored by Bob's. Bob's is a Columbia-based retailer of over 100 Black-owned products from 20 Black-owned businesses. Bob's offers a wide range of items from household cleaning, cosmetics, and everything in between. With every visit to Bob's, you support Black-owned businesses, giving them the opportunity to grow and establish connections with our community. Bob's is located inside the Noma warehouse at 2222 Sumter Street in Columbia, South Carolina. Visit their website, weshopbobs.com, for in-store pickup or to find out more. Bob's can also be found via social media on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at weshopbobs. When you stop by, tell them the Hilltop Glove sent you. Bob's brings quality Black brands to the Columbia community. The Hilltop Glove Podcast is sponsored by Red Rooster Sports Bar and Grill. Red Rooster is your neighborhood bar and grill serving the best wings, burgers, and baskets in the Met.
Like the amazing food, the bar is always on tap, and there's plenty of screens to watch the big game. Red Rooster is the Midland's premier meetup spot for local car and bike clubs, fraternities, and sororities.
Staff is dedicated to accommodating all kinds of parties and events. If you're looking to catch a game, have a bite, and a drink, look no further than the Red Rooster.
Red Rooster is located at 7500 Wilson Boulevard, Columbia, South Carolina. For more information, visit redroostersportsbar.com or visit them on Facebook, Instagram at Red Rooster Sports Bar. Go where the winners go.
Welcome to the Hilltop Glove Podcast.
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 Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of the Hilltop Glove Podcast. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Miss Dajon T. Dajon is an Orangeburg, South Carolina music manager, host, and promoter. In 2008, she became the CEO of Dajon T Management, a music management company working with local recording artists in the South. She is also the co-owner of Pyrex Battle League, and she focuses on artist development, registering music properly, promotions, and live reviews. Thank you for joining us today. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. I am good. It's finally getting hot outside. You know what I'm saying? So I'm feeling all right.
Spring is nigh.
So I definitely want to thank you for joining us today. I did a little bit of research about you, and I love the fact that you're from the South, Orangeburg. I was born in Orangeburg, so shout out.
Okay.
But can you tell the audience a little bit more about you, your upbringing, and who you are as an individual?
Sure. Well, first of all, my name is Dajon T. Like she said, I'm from Orangeburg, South Carolina. Trying to see where should I start. So Dajon T Management is my management company. We are based out of South Carolina. However, we travel everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like we're all over the place with it. A Pyrex Battle League the biggest battle league in the South right now, like really, really, really making waves. Outside of all of the good stuff, though, I'm a mommy of two. I'm a super dork. I love to read. I love to travel. I'm an Aquarius, so I sit by the water and chill a lot. I'm really, really big on like astrology, good stuff like that. So when I get in my grooves and I'm feeling myself, sometimes I'll get on Twitter and I'll do horoscopes and stuff like that. And they're always pretty doggone accurate. But I host events. I promote events. I do a lot of stuff. Like, this is always the hardest question for me. Growing up, though, I was a kid who was always engulfed by music. Music has always been a part of me, no matter how old I was. You know what I'm saying? Like, it all started, you know, like most typical Black kids, it starts in the church on the church choir. But I knew I had a problem. When I remember getting ready to join the church choir, right? My mom asked me one Sunday, she said, Kiosha, you want to get on the church choir? I looked at my mom, I said, they sing Kurt Franklin.
Oh.
and they looked at me like, what's wrong with this child? But it was something about that music. You know, it was something about the energy and the groove that he puts into his music type thing. So it was like, I want to be a part of that, you know? So by the time I got to middle school, I was playing instruments. I played 5 different instruments. I did marching band, color guard, all of that good stuff. Went to college for sociology, started my master's program for social work, all of this good stuff. And through all of this, I'm still kind of not fulfilled. I'm still kind of sitting back like, all right, this is cool. That's great. Whoop-de-doo. My mama got her degree finally because she won't let me have it, y'all. She said it's hers. So mommy's got her degree on the wall and everything now. But what's making me happy? Like, I love working in mental health. I love working at the prisons, but there's a component still missing. This is not life. And then my younger brother, Lil Gordon, he's an artist. Very, very, very amazing artist. Very different. He started actually jumping out, doing the music thing when he went to Denmark Tech. He started singing, taking his classes, you know what I'm saying? Started traveling and rapping and doing all this stuff. And then one day he came to me, he's just like, you should just be my manager. And I'm looking at him like, yeah, nah, nigga, that's not what's up. And he was like, no, you should be my manager. Like, you have it. You have the gift. Like, and I trust you. I don't trust anybody else. So I decided to give it a chance. And then we did another show. And that's when Freeport Donnie came along. And he's like, look, you got it. So you're going to be my manager. And I'm like, where y'all get this from? No. But they saw something in me. And I'm really, really heavy on push people to their potential. If you see somebody that you love that could possibly be great at doing something, man, push them because they might not even know that they're great at it, you know? So I appreciate those boys for pushing me. And we started in 2018 and here we are now in 2022, looking forward to a lot of different things. So that's just a summary of how this thing all began for me and where I came from out the trenches.
So you talking about this never feeling like you've reached your full level of potential and stuff. What's your sign?
Aquarius.
Okay. Listen, my mom is an Aquarius, so y'all are precise, energetic, y'all know a lot and y'all will tell people a lot that you know.
Right.
I respect that. And you guys are also creative.
Facts. And it's like we feel drained when we can't be in our creative space. That's the worst feeling in the world for an Aquarius, to not be able to be
Ooh, thank you for my wife is an Aquarius and finding her creative space is like something that I'm always pushing her to do because it is necessary.
Yeah.
From behalf.
Yeah, we turn into little mean people if we don't.
Yes. Y'all feisty. Y'all are feisty. I can hear the level of energeticness in your voice. So I think that's great that you're doing what you're doing.
I appreciate it.
People behind you to push you out your comfort zone, like you said. So, well, your brother, is it your little brother or older brother?
He's actually my younger brother.
Younger brother. Okay. How did you actually meet Freeport Donnie?
Well, Donnie's from Orangeburg too. So I can honestly say, like, when I was in high school, see, Donnie's older. So when I was in high school, like, Donnie was like one of the ballers around here in Orangeburg. You know what I'm saying? So, like, to know him, I ain't gonna call him by his government or whatever, but you know what I'm saying? To watch him play at OW, because I went to Edisto. So to watch him play at OW, it was like, oh man, these boys out here fire, And then over the years or whatever, my sister actually went to school in Orangeburg. So like being with my sister out and about, because she was my older sister, you know. So being with her out and about and stuff like that, I got introduced to a lot of these different people that she went to school with. And Donnie just happened to be one of those people. Hadn't seen him since I had been in high school. No, none of this good stuff. I moved back home after I graduated from Coastal. I moved back home. And I was working with another company at one point, and we were doing some events, and Donnie actually came out the blue because I had already seen him working with MMR and everything, you know? So I already knew that he was really, really still on the scene doing his thing because he's immaculate at what he does. So I saw that he was still on the scene doing his thing or whatever. The company I was working with, I think we were at a time where we were getting ready to throw a competition or something, but Donnie actually reached out and became one of the sponsors for that event by pressing up some CDs and stuff for us, you know what I'm saying, giving a shot to one of these up and coming artists who may not be on that level just yet. And from there, like once he came out to the event and he kind of saw how I conducted myself, that's when he came up and he was on some, you know, let me be a part of what you got going on. Like, what you doing? I see how you move and I like it. Like, let's move forward. Now he's gone from being one of my first artists, very first artists on Dajon T Management to he now being the actual A&R development coach on DC.
Wow.
That's cool that y'all get to grow together.
Facts. I love it. My whole team is still my day one team. So I think like as far as business, especially when you're talking about a business where you're dealing with multiple personalities and you're dealing with people who are in and out and indecisive all the time, to say that I still have my original team from 2018 says a lot for my work ethic alone.
Your work ethic and your character. Because I know we had a discussion with a gentleman who's been in the music business for a while about having to deal with, like you said, those different energies and people coming in and out. And to have a solid team, I know that has to be a big plus, right?
Yes. I would have been kicked the bucket if it wasn't for them.
So like you said, you grew up listening to Kirk Franklin. What other music inspired you? Because I know when I grew up listening to Kirk Franklin, I was singing in the car. Like it was mandatory. Like we couldn't get out the car until we finished
you
singing.
know, and it wasn't like no church rock either, honey. We lit in there like this is 103.9, baby. Okay, that
Right.
Stomp remix.
Yeah.
When I started seeing him putting rappers on gospel songs, it was something about that kind of changed my life, because I always felt like music is a universal language. It does not matter what language you speak. When a song comes on, we all speak whatever language that rapper speaks.
Mm-hmm.
It's universal. So coming up for me, you know, it started with the Kirk Franklins and all that good stuff. Let me say too, my dad and my mom love music as well. So riding around in the cars with them on trips and stuff like that, tuned into 102.9 and 101.3 and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my God, I'm tired of hearing this stuff. But as I started being able to make my own choices and my own decisions type thing, it was like, dang, I missed this stuff. You know, like it helped me be able to call samples out in people's songs and stuff, even down to the beat.
Right. Yep.
You can slide something in there if you want. That's not yours. I know where it came from. But I'm a huge Lil Wayne and Cash Money fan. I am a diehard, I will fight you about my Lil Wayne, okay? I was that kid before azlyrics.com. I was that kid sitting in my room with a notebook and a boombox. Wow. I'm going to listen to 2 bars. I'm going to press pause and I'm going to write them 2 bars down. Then I'm going to press play and I'm going to do it until I get to the end of the verse. Then we're going to run it back and rap it and make sure I wrote down the right lyrics. Like I was selling lyrics at school for 50 cents to $1 a pop. When Crime Mob hit the scene and nobody could say Diamond's verse. Yeah. Oh, baby, I was selling that at school at lunch for 50 cents.
Wow.
And when we get on the bus this afternoon, we going to wrap this thing together, okay?
That's so cool, man. Your business.
So it's like, you know, like from Lil Wayne to Cash Money, like even before Lil Wayne, the big timers, like when Juvenile first dropped, it was something about that whole Southern New Orleans swag that caught a hold of me. And to this very day, I am still a huge fan. No matter how they separate, I'm still a huge fan because it's just watching how they build. Like sociology is really, really, really what triggered this off of me. You know what I'm saying? Because I get to pay attention to behaviors, to patterns, to different things, and I understand it. So like to watch how different companies come together, stay together, and grow. They had Lil Wayne since he was 9 years old, 9 to 12 years old. You feel what I'm saying? That's a grown man now. Mm-hmm. And he still just is prominent. So just being able to follow that all the way through, like I pour a lot of that same love, those same things that they went through, those same different trial and errors and getaways, and let's try this. I implement a lot of that into what I do today because it worked. No matter what we say as fans on the business side, it worked.
Yeah, it did. It really did.
So, like you said, you grew up listening to music. What age were you when you actually decided that the music scene needed to change?
Sounds like you was managing people on the bus.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know what? I might have to go back and charge them because you is right on the playground too. I might have to go holler at them peoples. But I think it clicked for me. I think it clicked for me when I started doing concert band, to be honest. That's a good question. Wow. I think it really clicked for me when I was playing instruments and doing concert band. Like I said, I went to Edisto. So if you don't know, that's a predominantly white school, especially back then. So being a Black gifted child in a band that was making waves the way that Edisto's band was at the time, it was like, you know what? Okay, we doing this. Not to mention all of our band teachers, when I was coming through, they were all Black.
Oh, wow.
So they really, really expressed to us how powerful what we're doing is, how powerful it is to know how to read the notes on the paper, how powerful it is to be able to compose and transcribe music. And I'm just sitting here like, yo, y'all don't think this kind of dope? Y'all just playing y'all instruments and fiddling and stuff. Y'all don't think this kind of cool? Okay, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just a super nerd. All right, I'm gonna chill. And then when I started traveling and we would go to these concert band auditions and region band, and we would go to all these different places, and you see all these snobby behind kids. I'm trying not to curse y'all because I got a bed. But you see all these snobby behind children, and they're all kind of looking at you like, my instrument is shinier than yours. I got more buttons on my tuba than you do. Well, I got a wooden clarinet. And I'm looking at them like, baby, you got a buffet, okay? You ain't step your game up yet on the clarinets. Like, it was more than music. Yeah. I realized really, really early. I had to have been, y'all, maybe 7th or 8th grade. I realized at that point, like, music alone with no words can real life change the world. This thing can bring us together. It could separate us. It could make us understand the same message in the drop of a dime. This thing has the power to do whatever. Then I went to the marching band and I started seeing show style bands versus the traditional corps style that I was used to. Then I got introduced to the drum and bugle corps. Then I got introduced to the studios. See, I've been a recording artist since I was 12 because our church choir actually dropped the album when I was little. So I think it was called Strawberry Studios in Columbia somewhere.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, but that's where I recorded for the very first time at the age of 12 or 13 years old. As a matter of fact, I had to be 11 or 12. I wasn't even a teenager yet. And when we went into the studio, y'all, it's a moment I see vision. I had to close my eyes because I see it. This moment changed my life. We were recording a particular song, our rendition of Jesus Loves the Little Children. And for some odd reason, when we got ready to record and they dropped our beat, it was like 4 pitches off. Now, back then, I ain't know no better except for this ain't what we supposed to be singing. So literally, shout out to Miss Ophelia Darby. That woman is amazing. I literally remember watching Miss Darby look at those engineers and producers. She took about 2 to 3 minutes to try to fix it. They couldn't fix the issue. Miss Darby came back and all you seen was them hands. All right, this is what we got to do. I need you to sing this pitch, you to sing this pitch, you to sing this pitch. Y'all two sit down because y'all can't sing that pitch. She literally in 5 minutes reconstructed that song, y'all. And when it came out, it was probably more beautiful than the very first time we heard this song. Like, it was amazing. And right then and there, I knew in my heart, even if I don't do this for the rest of my life, music has to be a part of me in a bigger capacity than just being a listener. That changed my life forever.
That's a great story.
You mentioned the 5 instruments. What are the 5?
I play clarinet, I play French horn, I play mellophone. I started learning how to play the trombone only because I thought that was cool. Like, you just move your arm around and it works. Right. And I also play the baritone.
Ooh.
I mean, so being in music and, you know, being able to control the company, how do you feel about the way music has changed over the past 20 years?
See why you did that?
I'm curious. I want to pick your mind because, like you said, you grew up listening. So I just want to see how you feel because the music is changing. So.
Honestly, unpopular opinion. I love it because music is supposed to be reflective of the world around you. And it's like we want so badly to box these new artists into what we're used to from the 90s. What we're used to from the 80s. Oh, this ain't real music no more. Oh, this ain't love music. Oh, this ain't supposed to sound like this. That's what you let your kids listen to. Excuse me, baby. In 1991, I was saying F the police. Okay? Yep. So you're not going to fuss at me for this child on the right-hand side talking about how thick this lady is because I don't know if y'all was listening to these men's in the 60s and 70s, but they was nasty.
They was they was straight.
They just didn't curse. The language was different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference, y'all. I really feel like that's the difference is the fact that over time, it's not that necessarily the music changes, that censorship was lifted.
Yes.
It's that my mama's listening, watch your mouth, it got lifted. We stopped caring about what the next man think or what the next man expected us to do. And we started using our platforms to really get our messages across. Like for a while, coming through the 90s, that's all you saw. It was Black power, everything from the colleges to the shows to the clothes, everything. It was for us and by us. And then you go into the 2000s and you start seeing other people seep through the scene. You start seeing weird stuff like, hold up, where did this come from? You started seeing stuff like when Destiny's Child dropped Bootylicious when I was in elementary school.
Yeah.
Bootylicious got added to the Webster's Dictionary. Yeah. You started seeing stuff like when the Hot Boys dropped Bling Bling and Bling Bling went in the dictionary. You started seeing things where it really made a difference and people... This was 11th grade when Lil Jon dropped that Read a Book. But the song was so ridiculous and the video was so, but I promise you know every word to that song though. Cause it worked. He chose a scheme and it worked. It worked. So I feel like honestly, as far as the way the music, the sound of the music has changed, I do feel like it grew. However, I do feel like it's become a little generic because now it's like producers are not being creative and finding those samples and those artists niche anymore. They're going in there and they just going off of something that they had last week. This my stems from last week. I ain't finished doing this. Let me add this to it. Now everybody walking around sounding the same while their message is totally different.
Yeah.
So I really feel like the music has gotten more expressive. It's gotten more, this is me, this is how I feel, and I'm putting this in your face and you can accept it or you can not accept it. But I feel like we need to take a step back into those studios with our engineers, our producers, and our musicians
to create
to also show them that, you know, we still appreciate you too. Yeah. What you do is a grand part of what we have going on. And without you putting your life, your feelings, your emotions into these instruments that you guys are on, it's not too much that we can switch up over here.
That's a good
so I like it. Like I'm not going to sit here and say I ride around listening to most of these new people because I don't know half of them name. I don't know who them people be on the front of them double XL covers half of the time. But I deal with artists from the youngest artist that I've been working with lately is about 13, 14 years old.
Okay.
The oldest artist signed to me is in his mid-30s. You see what I'm saying? So I literally have to be able to accept some of everything. And understand a little bit of everything. And at first, like, I'll talk trash, like, this nigga's booty. I don't want to hear that. But then you listen to the words and it's like, oh my God, he's gone through so much. I'm so sorry. Like, you got to be open-minded. Like, moral of the story, because I know I might be bird walking, but the moral is you got to be open-minded to accept this new music because it's not what we're used to. It's not censored like we're used to. It's not made for mommy and daddy to play at the cookouts for your aunts and uncles from up north because they came to visit. That's not what it's for. Because 9 times out of 10, mommy and daddy, when you play it, second verse about you. How you had put me out and told me I wasn't going to come back to you. Yeah, that verse was about you, baby. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's different, but I do enjoy all forms. I really, really do. Like, I listen to every genre, even country music. I hated country music at one point because it was so, to me, depressed and it had a lot of underlying nonsense. And I just used to be like, are y'all that sad?
Yeah, man, I hear you.
Now... I can really tap my foot and say, okay, they done came up out the hole. That's what I'm talking about. Like, so it's really, I don't think it's reflective so much as what we're going through now. I think music is now an expression of self and not necessarily the world.
Yes. You explain that perfectly.
Yeah, and part of that is because that we have this ability to, like, one person can talk to any other one person on the planet.
Yeah.
It's just about finding that right person.
Yep.
That's a fact.
Talking about the censorship issue that you were talking about. I don't know where I heard this originally, but I love it and I use the hell out of it now. Quit telling me that my culture is obscene.
Mm-hmm.
Facts. Facts.
If I say I love y'all motherfuckers, there ain't nothing obscene about that.
And I love y'all niggas. Like, you know. But you know what's crazy about what you just said? I love that you said that. Like, that's probably going to be my favorite point in this interview, honestly, because do y'all know how much hell I catch when people love to hit me with the whole, these girls out here twerking and showing their bodies and doing this, that, and the third. And what you want someone to marry you? You want somebody to take you seriously? And every time they do that to me, I open my phone and I just type in Africa. Because I know when I was little, I remember opening my books and it was just titties right there. And it wasn't a porn and it wasn't a sex book. That was my culture. Yep. I can recall seeing even the men walking around with nothing but these underwear type garments that's just covering up their meat and their butt crack. And nobody cares because that's the culture. These African ladies over there with these donks, baby, they throwing them things in circles, honey. And it don't have nothing to do with the men standing around watching.
That's the point.
It has nothing to do with the people around that's watching. It is literally a celebration of whatever they're celebrating. And sometimes it ain't even a celebration. It's simply a ritual. But you bring it over here and the other people have sexualized these kids and these people and these gestures so bad that I can't even go outside with my chocolate legs out, baby, with somebody thinking I'm catfishing for a man. No, I love my big dark skinned legs and my sneakers. I don't care if you look or not. And I really feel like if we could get away from expecting that a woman or a man is supposed to do X, Y, and Z, or expecting that all cultures are supposed to believe and react and do all the things the same way, we ain't going to get nowhere. We're never going to get anywhere because we all are different people. We are all different people. We all come from different backgrounds. We all do different things. We all have a different way of life. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and that point right there, I promise you, I've been fighting that one since high school. Every time somebody say something like that, the first thing I would say is, you need to find your ancestors. Because I'm sure she ain't single in Africa with them titties out. Like...
That was wild. That was good.
Well, you know, if you grow up not being like sexually repressed and told that every sexual urge is like a sin, then you don't have to freak out every time you see a little bit of booty cheek.
That's fact.
Straight up.
So, you started the Dajon Tea Management in 2018. Could you explain to the audience what services you offer and how does someone create a music management company? Like, what hardships did you face? And do you feel like you bring something new to the table as a woman?
Girl, if my artists could have heard that question, they would die laughing right now. This is literally the hardest question for me, y'all. All right, first part of the question. The services I offer, management consultations, and just to kind of give a little brief summary on each one, with a management consultation, before you can come to me and say, Dajon T, I want to be on your roster, you got to give me something to put on the roster. So I'm just not going to book you or, sign you because you're an artist. We need to have a talk. I need to see what you got going on. You need to let me in the background of your stuff so that I can analyze your numbers, see what your demographics and your logistics looking like, baby. Because if you ain't got nothing going on and you're not the supply that's in demand, there's nothing that I as a manager can do for you because I don't create careers. I manage. I do artist consultations. So like for those artists who are developing, who's looking for how to get to that next level or even to just get the least bit of notoriety, I kind of show them different resources, different tools, different techniques to kind of get out there and be seen. Not only that, but I actually come up with a development plan with them. So we'll sit down, we do a little chop it up, and I actually help you build a full development plan from where you are. I don't expect you to be where Lil Gordon is. I don't expect you to be where Freeport Donnie or Fame Oliver or Mochetta is. I expect you to be where you are, Mr. XYZ. So I'm going to help you get from there to here. And if your goal is simply to go from rapping to just performing, okay, that's what we're going to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to go with you step by step. And even with those, after that initial meeting, I kind of keep in touch with you. I keep in touch with you to see what you got going on. Management consultations,
I'm sold. Sounds like a good manager.
No, seriously.
And with the artist consultation as well, I make sure you are signed up on all of your platforms to make sure that you are getting all of your royalties. So your PROs, your BDS systems, your sound exchange, everything that makes sure your money is coming to you the way that you're supposed to. I make sure I take care of that. And I also teach. I'm real heavy on stop paying people to do everything and learn how to do it. Even if you pay somebody because you don't have the time to do it, please at least know what you're looking at so that when that person say, I did my job, you can go look and say, yeah, you did do your job. Or no, nigga, you did not do this. The fuck is you doing? Like, because a lot of artists become inferior, and I speak life into them. I try to let artists know you are in control. Nobody, when you are an artist, is in control until you sign a label, and you better know what you sign because you're still in control.
Yeah.
But a lot of them don't understand that point until you done pop them upside the head after they done took a big L. Artist consultations, management consultations. I do shows. So I do concerts and showcases everywhere, from city to city, state to state. I've literally done showcases down in Tampa, Florida, Miami, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Virginia. We're getting ready to go to California next month. The biggest show I had in South Carolina, I had 51 artists perform.
God, man.
My smallest show in South Carolina was probably 20 artists. I have worked in a matter of a year. I've worked with over about 600-700 different artists. It's crazy. From the shows, I do interviews. I used to actually have a show on YouTube. It's called What's the TSC? I haven't really messed with it too much lately because battle rap literally came in and took over my life. Like, my rise in battle rap and my league's rise in battle rap was so quick. I was like, oh my God. Like, I had to do some time management, which is something else I kind of teach artists about too, is time management. You can have all the time and money in the world, but if you don't know what to do with it, you still looking stupid. So I got to teach them how to organize their time and their careers and stuff like that. This is really a hard one because like I said, I'm Aquarius, y'all. I'm insatiable. So anytime I feel like there's something out there that I need to know how to do, before I call somebody else to do it for me, I'm going to try my hand at it first.
Gotcha.
Like, I love to be in the know. I'm very inquisitive. So pretty much anything that y'all can think of, either I know how to do it, I do it, or I'm learning how to do it. Like, I just really don't stop. Like, it's dope. I do platform distribution as well. So artists who have singles and projects out there that need them dropped and they don't necessarily know how to work the distribution platforms or what they even, I can take care of that for you. I have a DJ on my team. So me and him tag team a lot. We host a lot of different parties in different places together. I actually do these interviews a lot. I do a lot of public speaking for artists and for like young girls and stuff like that. Like, y'all, I don't know. This could go on forever.
Girl, you sound like, it sound like you're getting tired explaining everything. Yo, you do a lot.
And listen, because I'm over here thinking like, what else? What else? You definitely missing something, but I can't think of nothing else, so we gonna stop.
But it sounds like you've just been watching the whole industry, and then every time somebody didn't know how to do something, and they were like, oh, I don't know that, you just started digging.
You just explained to me. Yes. I
feel you. That's how all of us do this stuff, you know?
I absolutely love you. Yes. Do you know how many people look at me crazy when I try to explain to them my motivation? People always be like, oh, yeah, you follow this right here. It's such and such success. I don't learn from people's successes. I learn from their failures. I learn when you're successful around me, I'm going to congratulate you, baby. You already doing that. There's no need for me to move that way. You are now a resource to me. I can send people your way. Let's get this back together. But in the background, oh, baby, I learn from your failures. I literally will sit there and I could be helping you and be a part of the failure. Let me add that because I'm never afraid to fail. You can't grow if you don't fail, if you don't make mistakes. I like to be in the field. So I'm the type of person where if I'm watching you and I'm seeing where you're fumbling and I can see where you could perfect this thing, as soon as you get to that part, I'm jumping in. Hey, look, try this right here. Or if it already failed, I'm going to come back and I'm going to bring you back in and say, hey, let's try this way right here and see what it do. I ain't going to never take nobody's stuff and just run off with it. But I will come to you and say, I got an idea of how we can make this work a little bit better. Like, I actually read a lot of books and stuff. And even in these books, I just be looking like, this was written in the 90s. That ain't going to fly nowadays. Maybe I need to rewrite this book, honey. Like, you know what I'm saying? And not to say that I'm perfect, but I'm a perfectionist. So I do my best to make sure that anything I'm involved in or anything that's attached to me is as close to perfect as perfect can get. Like you are the first person in these past few years who's even said that understands that. Like, I was working, the reason Dajon T Management came back, and I don't tell this part of my story often. That's how I know you really hit a point. I don't tell this part of my story often because I don't like to bring my past too much into my current. But I was working with a whole different company before I was known as Dajon, because Dajon actually is my government name. That's my middle name. So people be like, what's your real name? That's not your real. Yes, it is. I ain't telling you my first name. It's on my birth certificate. But I was working with another company really closely. You know what I'm saying? I was just learning. I didn't know anything about throwing events. I didn't know anything about throwing parties. I didn't know how to do none of this stuff. You feel me? And they brought me in. But I started seeing them do so much fucked up stuff to artists, yo. I couldn't take it. I was watching these artists get clowned. I was watching these artists get scammed. I was watching these artists get overcharged for an event I know damn well there wasn't going to be number 5 people at. I was sitting here watching people create fake flyers and say, oh, we got this artist coming through because they got bills due. So if you pay him $300-400 to sign up for this event that ain't even real, he done made his bill money and you still waiting on the show to pop off. Like, I watched this. And instead of putting that person on blast, instead of falling out and doing all of that, I distanced myself from the situation, and Dajon T Management was born. It was born on the shoulders of someone who literally took their time to fuck artists over every chance they got. I learned from every mistake he made. I learned from every failure that I watched him have, and I built my company. And everybody who was involved on the business side of that, when it all came down to it, it was just me still standing. And now they're all over here like, where we going next?
And I think that's the difference from when you're like kind of, I mean, that is the traditional entertainment industry that we all have watched movies about, you know, like, right? Yep. Like that's what like every come up movie you've ever seen on VH1 is somebody screwing over the artist.
Right.
But nowadays I feel like, and I want to dig in a little bit on this because like, at least the past 10, probably the past 15 years, there has been this major overhaul in how we all consume content, how content gets, what makes a person relevant. And if you're just replicating something that somebody else has done, you can't catch those waves. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like hip hop in particular is something that has always been an underground force. You know, it was conceived, born, and raised underground because it was a counterculture to what was already going on. Right. And even when it becomes mainstream and people start making money off of it and that kind of thing, it's like the heart and soul of it is still from people who are like on the come up, on the hustle, trying to make that track that nobody's helping them with. Right.
Right.
And it becomes more about, you know, well, what's your following? How many subscribers you got? What's your reach? I don't know. So I just wanted to kind of pick your brain a little bit about, you know, how important this moment is, where you see this going. You know, how do we cultivate an environment where the culture can grow while people are still getting paid, but also we kind of maintain independence and self-determination and don't just get swept into like following the next fad?
Honestly, I don't know if time will ever go back. Not right now, because the biggest issue, and I talked about it in my Off the Porch interview, the biggest issue is that the money has taken the place of the network and the lessons. These artists don't have to be good no more.
Damn.
You can have a bag and pay your way onto the industry, baby. And I thought the goal was to get paid by the industry. So why are you paying your way to the industry? You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I'll never understand how these artists get mad and I'm talking about livid, because a DJ says, hey, you got to pay me a few dollars to spin that track. And it's not even because that DJ is being greedy half the time. It's because that's what the culture has become. Everything costs $1. It don't cost love no more. It don't cost support no more. It don't cost talent no more. It costs $1. And it's like, it's two sides of the spectrum. Either you got it or you broke. If you got it, you can buy that look.
Yep.
You can buy that sound. You can't buy them rhymes, but you can buy the look and you can buy the sound. And there's going to be some dumb A&R out there who see a bag on your head.
Yep.
And boom, you win. Yep. You can go buy the 1 million views on YouTube. And if the A&R that's booking you don't know what to look for, to find out that half of them is BS views and bots as well, they're not going to understand either. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really do hate how everything has to be about the numbers. Oh, do you have over 10,000 followers? No, nigga, that's why I need you. Like, you know, has a million people heard your song yet? Has a million people heard your other song, your other artist songs that's on the shelf yet? No. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like one of the biggest things, like, yes, I do feel like I have something different because I'm very interactive with my people. A lot of times when you step out to these concerts, these shows, when you talking to people who sit in positions like where I sit, they're not this open.
No, they aren't.
You're not going to get this much out of them. They're going to let it be known that I am king and I'm standoffish and you have to treat me as such. Me, on the other hand, I'll get on the stage and I'm going to party with you. And then after we finish partying, I'm going to go tell you that song was ass, baby. Bring me something else and let's work this thing out.
But you know, that's the original hip hop.
Yeah.
That's the original party, you know, DJ and MC running stuff. Oh, y'all have rhymes? Well, come up here and show them, because that rhyming was just like a fun thing you did as you walked around. It wasn't necessarily like, I'm going to write out 16 bars and throw this out.
Right.
And, you know, you were in battle rap. So you obviously understand this and you know, understand this and see it and try to culture it.
Right. And that's another thing too. Like, music has always been a strong point, but battle rap, it made me an even tougher critic. Because now I know how to put together and listen to and understand those haymakers, those punches, those bars, all of those different things that work together to create that true hip hop sound. Mm-hmm. I know what I'm looking for now. And it's thanks to battle rap. So when you put those two together with some stuff with the person that's knowledgeable in the background of everything else going on, you kind of get a different picture. You know, like most people, like I said, most people, their only goal is to make it. Their only goal is to be famous. Because I always ask artists, what do you want out of this? You want to be wealthy? You want to be famous? Or do you want to change the world? Janae Aiko, prime example. She is really healing the world through music. Half of the people don't even understand that all of her songs includes those singing bowls and those different things that heal the body, not just your ears. It heals the body. They don't understand that if you record your music in different frequencies, you get a different market of people. That 808, it is going to drag you down. It is going to make you speed. It is going to make you turn up and have the time of your life. But baby, you're going to sleep like a baby when you get home because it has drained your body and your mind. As opposed to those people who know the difference in the EQs of music, and their music is mixed down as close to 417 hertz as it can, or other different frequencies, because they hit certain frequencies in the body. That particular one hits right in the pineal gland. It's a vibration. If you put two phones in your hand, play Janae Aiko in one hand, right? Play anything else in your other hand, you're going to feel the difference in your hands. They don't do enough educating nowadays. So nobody really knows what they're doing.
Music is science, yeah.
Let's talk about that for a second, because this is the first time we've had a guest that actually brought this up.
Thank you.
Yes.
But so you tuned to 414, you say?
17.
417? Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So I've always heard 432 is a good solid one. And then, of course, the mainstream is 440.
Yep.
And what we're talking about, folks, is basically that back in the day when, you know, orchestras and such were traveling around, the tune session, like when everybody's tuning up on the stage, was basically everybody was tuning at the same time to be in pitch with each other. And then at some point in history, everything got standardized, and it got standardized to something that sounded mathematically right, like 440. And that's not the natural resonating pitch of things in existence.
Not even a planet. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, you know.
And look, not to cut you off, but you know the best way I explain that to people? Because, you know, you got to break stuff down in nigga terms sometimes to make sure our people get it. That part, if you ever seen the 5 Heartbeats, remember when they were sitting in the studio and that meter kind of went and everybody went crazy in the studio?
Yep.
That is the part, right? Every time I explain this to an artist, I always use that as an example. Because as a kid growing up, I never knew why the hell everybody was like, when it hit this spot. And then as I learned more about music, I said, oh, that's what they were waiting for. It was the fine tuning and that final mix and master before it got distributed. Okay, makes sense now.
That's why it's so important.
It makes the music have power.
Yeah, it's so important.
Just like I teach the difference between a stereo sound versus the digital sound. I encourage my artists, get your stuff on vinyl. Not just a CD, not just a jump drive, but hear that difference with that vinyl, baby. That's straight stereo sound right there. That's as pure as it gets.
Yep. Every time you exporting your track as a MP3 and you've got to sit there and like adjust those settings, that is data. That is sound that is being cut off.
Yep, lost.
So that you don't hear it.
That is facts. Yeah, that's the best part of it though, being knowledgeable all the way around. Like, I don't think I'd be able to just sit here and manage and do paperwork and stuff, y'all. Like, I really love the studio sessions. I love the build sessions. I love being able to watch the producers build these beats. I love watching the engineers go in and take out something as small as a breath or a pin drop. I love the intricacy of what music can do when it's done right.
Man, you're passionate, yo. I just like hearing you talk about this. But I have a question for you, and I always have this question. Up? This is something that's like, meat and bones, but I mean meat and potato stuff rather. How do you create a music management company? Like, what was your process? Like, what paperwork? Like,
it was unorthodox.
All right, so could you explain that to our audience? Because I know this is something like. First of all, you're giving us a lot of background information. Like you said, you are not like most music management folk that we have talked to. Like you're pretty straightforward. So background way, like was it?
Because they can't steal your sauce.
They can't steal it. Yeah, you can't steal your type.
Oh yeah, I tell anybody in a heartbeat, I can give you my recipe, but you can't cook.
Yes. I agree. You come with a different feel. So like, do you like paperwork wise? Like, did you have to register an LLC? Like, how did you create that thing from the ground?
So boom, right? Jumping out the gate, the first thing I did, because I'm not going to sit here and lie to y'all, I did not license the company until a year in, but I'm going to explain why. Once Lil Gordon and Freeport Dining pretty much attacked me and beat me up and said, hey, we're going to hold you hostage until you be our manager, I was like, cool. The first thing that I did, if I didn't know how to do anything else, I got them on paperwork. I might not have all my paperwork yet, but let me make sure that you sign this dotted line real quick, because what I don't need is for me to put my all into this and then you back out or you run away from it. You feel what I'm saying? So I had to make sure I locked in my artists first. From there, I started educating myself and being more familiar with different resources that could help me.
Okay.
Not just the artist, because as a manager, you need coaches too. You need knowledge too. You need people who can pour that same life and energy into you as well. So I had to kind of get out there and learn the different little things, like simple stuff as far as like how to get booked at the club, how to negotiate certain contracts. What does this mean? What does that mean? What is my artist need? What exactly is my damn job? Okay. Like I had to figure out, because nobody was willing to tell me when I started, and she put the touch on it about, being a woman is a little different. When I jumped out, mind y'all, like I said, during the summertime, call it provocative, what have you, I don't care. I love short shorts and sneakers. Mm-hmm. I love to step out and I like to show some skin. I'm a beautiful dark-skinned woman. And most dark-skinned women who got a little meat on them, they be a little insecure. So I'm the one that walks around like, baby, flaunt that thing and be happy. Okay. So knowing that about me and knowing my personality, you already have this don't play with her type of mentality about me. You feel what I'm saying? And then I step into a ring with my knowledge. That's already going to make you look at me crazy, because it's like, who the hell is she? And why you know all of this already? Like, stop this, you know? So my biggest issue stepping into when I was trying to learn is that everybody at that time outside of Shalon Rogers, who is the CEO of Think It's a Game Records right here from Columbia, South Carolina, amazing individual who does not mind being a resource for me. You know what I'm saying? Outside of watching her really do her thing out here, I didn't really have any females to watch. I didn't really have any females to approach. So I was going for some of these other male managers who already had artists popping. I'm big on trying to, stay away from certain things, so I don't call names, even though I be wanting to.
Wise.
When I would approach them to try to do work with them, or when I want to approach them on some, hey, can I have a sit down with you? Like, what's your fee for a consultation? I just kind of want to have a studio session, sit in and kind of watch you work, or, can I pick your brain for like an hour? I'll pay you for it type thing. And it always turned into, can I get some ass in return? Nigga, no.
Sound like Kodak.
Like, no. Did it look like I came to give you some bunkie? No. You know, like, and it was something that I really had to fight for a while because some of the people that I wanted to work with the most, they seemed so genuine coming off. They seemed so genuine coming off the gate, but they weren't really genuine like that. They really had ulterior motives. You know what I'm saying? Once you get to this point, I'm going to do this for you. You have to return something to me. So I really had to find my lane and ground myself. I really had to find my lane and I had to ground myself like, okay, who are you going to be, Dajon? How are you stepping out? What's going to be your mission and how you going to accomplish that mission? How will you respond to this? How will you answer that? Are you going to be the proactive type or the reactive type? Do you have emergencies ready to go in the background, ready to solve these problems type thing? Like, what type of manager are you going to be? Are you going to cling on to your artist and let them carry the way and you just say, yeah, that's my artist? Or are you going to really take the forefront and go crazy? And it took me some weeks sitting down like, all right, what are we doing here? So once I got all of that in line, I figured out who I wanted to be because I cannot lead somebody if I'm not where I need to be. So once I figured out exactly where I wanted to be mentally, who I wanted to be and what I wanted the world to see of me, oh yeah, we went up. We went up at that point. From there, I started actually getting into festivals and stuff like that. I still hadn't licensed a company yet because my biggest thing that I had already known about business, Monopoly is one of my favorite games. And when you actually learn how to play Monopoly and not just play Monopoly, your mind becomes a beast when it comes to negotiations and stuff like that. So literally, I would play Monopoly on advanced against the computer every day. And the one thing I learned is you want to put a company out of business, you got to double their business.
Ooh.
And you got to do it better.
Ooh. Okay.
I learned that in the first few years, it ain't no profit. It's all hustle. So I wanted to prove to myself before I put $100-something into just the paperwork. I wanted to at least prove to myself that I'll be here a year from now. And if I'm here a year from now, we going to get our paperwork and we going to do this thing right. Because otherwise, if we ain't here a year from now and I done spent this money, I'm cussing all y'all niggas out. Y'all going to give me $50 a piece for that license.
That's true. That's true.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was more so I took my time because I had to prove it to me. I didn't really have some steps and a process. I didn't really have anybody in my ear saying, Dajon, you need to go do this. You need to handle that. Take care of this. I literally had to piece this thing together on my own. Once I was able to make it into the next year, by the time we made it into our first year, let me say, because for that first year, we were shows. We were on the road at least 3-4 days out the week, state to state. I'm talking about wasn't no flying, wasn't no, we had $20 in our pocket to get to Charlotte to do this show. And we had $5 left between everybody to make it back home. But God damn it, we going to show our ass on this stage. And while y'all on that stage showing out, I got everybody promo material in my bag walking around. You know, look, Gordon, here you go. Here's a QR code. You know, Freeport Daddy, it's some tapes over there on the table. Go grab them. I was a promoter, you know what I'm saying? But I was a promoter who knew that I was looking for something more. I didn't really come to a full structure. That's why this question is always hard to answer. I didn't really find a full structure until, rest in peace, we lost one of our biggest artists, The Only Plug. When I lost Plug, it changed me. It made my work ethic different. It made me go to paper and say step 1, step 2, because if I want to leave a legacy behind, I got to show somebody how to do this thing the same way I did with greatness, with courage, with enthusiasm. I can't leave them out there in the water to think that they just gonna figure it out because everybody let me just figure it out. And I made terrible mistakes and lost thousands. If I can help you not do the same thing, then let's go. You feel what I'm saying? So I didn't really have any set steps. this thing was all trial and error and find it. Now I'm licensed. My paperwork is licensed. I'm taking different master's classes, like with Taylor Swift's original manager, people like that. My artists, I've had 3 artists signed to Equity Distribution, which is Rock Nation's distribution company. We are actually going to LA with them next month for Rel Carter, who is the director of A&R for Rock Nation. We are going on his culture tour next month in LA. We've had billboards up and down every major city you can think of. We've had billboards in those cities. Like, I found a new way to put it in your face.
Okay.
And it started with me having to be the face of my brand instead of my artist. Now I'm trying to step back and let them do their thing. We branded. We in your house. We on your TVs. You feel what I'm saying? Now I'm sitting back and I'm letting my artists grow and do the thing.
Dang, girl. Man, bravo.
Make the road by walking.
Bravo, yeah.
Facts.
Yeah. Bravo.
Thank you.
Man. All right. So I know we are getting up close to the hour. So I did want to get to some of these questions before, of course, we let you give our audience your information on how they can follow you on social media, et cetera, and see what's going on with you. But man, this is always a big question. I always like to ask people who are in the industry, especially in South Carolina. We have a diverse and a very talented pool of artists in our state. But normally we always end up getting exported out to somewhere else to, grow and become big. And part of it is because our market is so small, but we have the talent, which is crazy. Like, we have so many people who are famous, et cetera, come from South Carolina. Like, how do we, and I like that you do this especially between Orangeburg, Charleston, and Columbia, bridging that gap between South Carolina artists so that we can create and work together instead of staying in our separate silos. Like, how do we do that? And could you name some things that you're doing so that our audience can understand what you're doing to be a part of this, but bringing those artists together so that we can create our own markets, so we can make our own money here in the state as well, instead of just exporting our culture?
This is one of my favorite questions. I wish you would have asked this one when I had time to get into it, honey. All right, let me speed up my talking because this is going to be a fast one. So boom, right? I really feel like the problem is, again, it's not the artists, it's the people that are in the positions that I'm in who are not bringing them together. Okay. They want to be the I am that for my area. They want to be the I started this, I'm doing that, instead of being the I began, let's go type of situation. I didn't even know that was a big issue until DZ McDuffie had hit over 1 million on World Star and YouTube and everything. And then I moved to Dillon and I opened a club in Dillon, right? And DZ dropped in the club. I'm going crazy, singing my life away, and nobody else knew the words. This is a year after this shit has hit a mill, y'all. And I'm like, hold the hell up. Y'all don't know who DZ McDuffie is? Everybody like, who? This song is hard, though. And I'm like, what? Right then and there, I threw my first show 2 months later because I realized the problem is Carolina don't know Carolina.
Exactly.
The 864 don't know who the hell is in the 843. The 843 is broken up so fucked up. You got Myrtle Beach, Florence, and all that. That's one world.
One area, yep.
Charleston is a totally different world, and they all 843. Yep. In between those two parts of the 843 is us, Columbia, Orangeburg, and all of that good stuff. So what I started doing was I stopped doing shows in one place, and I started going city to city, state to state, and I'm taking artists with me from all the different places I done visited. When I drop compilation mixtapes. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm taking artists from I take about 10 artists from every part of our state, and I put them on a compilation tape. The first one did 60K views. I do live reviews. My live review shows, I haven't done them in a while, but my live review shows go crazy between IG and Facebook. The least amount of viewers that I get combined, because they be cutting me off and shit, but the least amount of viewers I might get is 1K. I've had 10K viewers in a night before. You feel what I'm saying? And it's international, from Switzerland to Australia to Israel. I'm talking about people send me music. They call my phone. You feel what I'm saying? Like, so that's really my most. And I wish I had more time to actually elaborate, because that's really one of my favorite questions.
We'll
but
come back to part
it's
two.
Personality. It's personality. My personality radiates. You can be next to me, or you can be just like y'all are through these headsets. You still gonna feel like you're in the same room with me, because that energy is everything.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I feel your energy, girl. I feel it.
Thank you, girl.
Thank you for waking me up this morning.
No problem. Because look, I had to get right. That's why I told you, let me finish, get my baby right. I had to slap my ponytail on and lay those edges. Ahead, because if I feel good, if I look good, baby, I'm going to feel good. And I'm going to make sure everybody around me feel the same way.
Man. Yo, we have to do a part 2. I didn't know. Yeah,
I'm with it.
We're gonna have to definitely do a part 2 with you, because, like you said, as I said, just to be honest, Freeport Donnie, that's one of our dudes, and I know since you work with him, solid. I know you're solid. In this interview, you were so open and honest with us. I do want to come back because we do have some more questions, but of course, we are limited a little bit by time this morning. So I do want you to actually finish up with just explaining to our audience again some of the projects that you're currently working on and how they can find you on online or on social media.
Okay. Currently, my artist, Lil Gordon, he's working on Burning Roses Part 2. That'll be dropping really, really soon. We've got a lot of projects in the works right now with Equity Distro. That's the platform he drops through. And I'm actually working on getting my other artists there. I'm planning a few showcases as well as concerts, because my biggest different showcase, I open it to all artists. Concert is handpicked type situation. So I am working on a few of those that I'm getting ready to drop for the spring. Lil Gordon is currently doing a residency actually at Crown Station in Charlotte on Thursdays with Reese Raps. Okay. on the dope stages or whatever, and he rocks it. His live performance is crazy. Me and my DJ Big Sal, we're getting ready to do another compilation tape really, really, really soon. We've already started pulling in the music for that. We've got LA in March with the Rail Carter Culture Tour. Pyrex Battle League, we just had one of the biggest cards ever with Coffee Brown. We had Mosca Flux in the building, Couture. It was a beautiful situation. Anything else, if I need to have it going on, y'all need to DM me and say, Dajon, this is what I need, baby. And I'm going to make it happen for y'all. You can find me on Facebook at Dajon T, Dajon space Tee. If I'm in Facebook jail over there, it's Queen Key Thompson, all right? Because I'm usually in Facebook jail sometimes. IG, Dajon.T management. And then on Twitter, which is my favorite because that's where I'm the most open. That's
what I was wondering. Okay.
It's going to be at Dajon T.
Gotcha. Yeah, because your Twitter is popping. All right, that makes sense. I'm going to make sure to get you up and we'll get that following going on there. But man, again, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you today. Thank you for joining us, giving us some time out of your Saturday to catch you early in the morning and have this good conversation. But like I said, we're going to have to definitely do a part 2 so we can continue this on the flip side and and pick your brain about some more things. I know my brother especially has some questions about the Battle League and also some work life and time management items. So we'll definitely have to pick your brain again. Other than that, this will conclude our episode today of the Hilltop Club podcast. We want to thank our guest, Dajon T, for joining us today. And we will see you all on the next episode of the Hilltop Glove podcast. Peace.
That's it for today's episode of the Hilltop Glove podcast. Make sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and other platforms. Also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Hilltop Glove.